Hello there, we're at Queen Mary's Hospital, Roehampton. I'm in the prosthetic room of Nick Hilsdon, who is my prosthetist, who looks after my upper arms. He did used to do the lot, the feet and the arms, but he's now concerned with my upper arms. So welcome, Nick. Nice to meet you again. And Nick also is a patron of Limb Care, so we're very proud. Nick, the reason why I'm here today is I'd like to know, from a patient's point of view, is how you perceive the patient. So in other words, is the good relationship between prosthetist and patient good? Does it help in the building of the limbs and getting to know your patient?
Yeah, it's very important to strike a good mutual friendship with the patient, to chat about things, to feel at ease talking about different types of issues that are going to come up, because there's all sorts of issues that are going to come up. It's not just a short-term thing. You don't meet a person once and that's the end of it. Someone like you, I mean, we put up with each other, 6, 7, 10 times a year perhaps, doing various different types of things, because you've got to try different types of, in my particular field, upper limb. So you might try a split hook, you might try a cosmetic arm, might try my electric hand. There's all sorts of different devices that you might want to try. So all these types of things, you've got to get on well with the patient, and you've got to see what they want, discuss different things with them, and have time and patience with them, and they can come back to you hopefully for more input later on.
We've known each other 20 years more, and you've seen the progress I've made as an amputee. Has that strengthened your knowledge with knowing patients a long time to understand how not just to rebuild the body, but to rebuild the person? Yes,
I think it does. You get to know a person, a patient, and you know what they want, and they'll have a particular type of socket. What I often try and do, I try and improve on things, try and suggest things, and quite often it works, but very often people have got a set in their ways. They might have a hard steeple hand, for instance, that they've had for years and years, and I might say, try this nice foam hand, or cosmetic, it looks much better than, but they'll prefer the type of hand they've had for years. It might not really be the most up-to-date thing and the type of thing we would ever prescribe to a new patient, but because they've had it and they got used to it, so they've got that type of thing. It goes on often all the time. Patients get used to something and it's hard to move them on, and a lot of patients are quite progressive though, so you need to know what type of patient will go for something a bit different, try something a bit more out of the ordinary, a bit different. So it is, like you say, you need to know the patient and to see what they think, and to discuss it all with them, perhaps give them a trial on different types of arm and see how they go. Yeah, it's interesting.
In your knowledge now, and I think it's vast, the years you've been in this industry, has a lot changed, and has that change been to the good?
Yeah, I've been fitting arms and doing my thing for about 30 odd years now. The biggest change, perhaps not electronics or anything like that, but the biggest change has been in materials. In the early days we used lots of leather and even rawhide in sockets, and we use webbing appendages, but nowadays everybody wants self-suspending sockets, and even above elbow patients they'll want silicone sleeves to suspend their limbs by, and that, so it's not really the technology but the materials, which I suppose is part of technology, but it is the advances in materials which have made things perhaps better for the patient. And of course the electronics revolution has brought through. When I first started, there were no electronic limbs at all. There were gas-powered limbs, not very many, but there were a few gas-powered limbs, but there were no electronic. We've seen the electronics come in. The first electronic limbs were fairly crude, not wonderful, but people used to, because of that time there was lots of publicity, patients were very, very keen to get electronic limbs, so they would come and get their electric arms. They would perhaps keep breaking down because they're not very reliable, but they've got better and better. They're much more reliable, they're more good looking, the batteries last a lot longer, so they have improved enormously over the years.
Nick, when you rebuild a person, do you see the persona of the person change? Do you think it helps the person wearing a limb to go out of your fitting room feeling quite okay? Do you think that's an image you see sometimes?
Yeah, it is. It is very rewarding for me to see that, to see a patient might have an electric arm, start working with it, doing things on it with it, and they're very, very, you can tell they're very pleased with it. They want to, it may not be quite finished, they want to wear it home more quickly than you'd like them to, but that sort of thing is very rewarding, and it's good to also, perhaps, occasionally we get the people from your organisation involved, coming in and chatting to them and encouraging them to go ahead and try these different things. But initially it is very rewarding to see patients taking a limb out for the first time and being very proud and pleased to wear it. It makes us proud to have done a good job for them.
As a patient, Nick, I trust you solely with rebuilding them. I think if you didn't have that harmony between patient and prosthetist and technician, I feel as though maybe my progress might have been not so good. I just am so lucky that I've had you now as a friend. And I look at my years that I've been with you and others. It's been a long road, but you can discover so much goodness in people. And now I'm sort of chairman of the charity Limb Care, and you have honoured me by being the patron. Isn't it great to give this gift as a patient's point of view and a prosthetist point of view?
Yeah, it is. It is a wonderful thing.
Nick, thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you, Raymond.
Pleasure.